Well, at least one of them is, I'm not sure about Mark.
Thank you, Pete, they're both all right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us tonight, this morning, noon, whatever time it is, Mark Case from the police department, so why don't you make your way on Mark. Mark brought with him Floyd Wingo, so we're glad both these people are coming to talk to us about National Night Out. We need more civic participation by all of us citizens. He's going to tell us how we can get out here tonight, do some of that. So, Mark, you go ahead and talk to us. Here's the microphone, they all want to hear what you have to say.
Okay. National Night Out is an annual community building. Close it. That promotes a police-community partnership. National Night Out enhances the relationship between neighbors and police while bringing back a true sense of community. As y'all know, with everything that's going on, things are getting divided, and this is a way that we try to bring the communities back together. It gives a positive, it brings the police and the citizens together in a positive circumstance. This is our 4th year to do National Night Out. We host the event with partnership with the Upshur County Crime Stoppers. After last year, when we were doing National Night Out, it started raining. We were able to get the livestock pavilion up here at the Gilmer Park, and that's where we hosted that now. That way we don't have to worry about inclement weather, and we can bring people in earlier to set up their booths. With National Night Out, the way they intended it to be was to do neighborhood block parties. Well, with everyone's busy schedules around here, it was hard to try to pull people in to do the block parties. So what we did is we decided we're just going to make one big community event. And so that's what we've been doing for the last couple of years. Each year the event's getting bigger, and the reason that is more of the community's getting involved with the event. We have several civic organizations involved, a lot of the churches are involved, and we're getting great participation from the community in this. Tonight it will be from 6 to 10. We have Darren Morris band there. They'll be playing for the 4 hours that we're there. Our theme this year is game night, and we've asked all the booths to set up some form of game for the kids to participate in. October is our busiest month with the Jamboree going on, and then we have National Night Out. And a program we started back in 4 years ago is Fishing with Kids. We set aside one Saturday out of the month, and we set up at the last couple times we've been, or matter of fact, all the time we've done it out at Steve Sampson's park. The kids come out, we feed them lunch, they have a great time. The police officers interact with the kids to try to develop a relationship with the kids at an early age. That way they're not scared of us. You know, you hear parents all the time, I want to get the cops to come get you. Well, you know, we don't like hearing that, because when the kid's in trouble, we're the people they need to come to. And with that fear being instilled on them, that's not the case. Another event we'll take event in is in December. We do a thing with the nursing homes, Gilmer Civic Center in Upshur Manor. This is a program that I think a lot of, because there's a lot of folks there that they don't have family to come visit and stuff like that. So we try to do something for them for Christmas and spend some time up there and socialize and stuff like that. And it's turned out to be a pretty good program. Y'all have any questions?
What age group is mostly will participate tonight? The young people.
We'll have them up there from all ages. You know, parents will bring their kids up there, and it's a great thing, because you know, you get people that haven't seen people in a while, and it's time for them to visit. We visit with them. We've got one of the hits that we have is Donkey Cop. We have a Dunkin' booth up there, and we'll put a police officer in there, and the kids will work. We'll have bounce houses up there, slides for the kids, and just different events like that.
You probably could use the dunking booth as a real moneymaker if you let adults
Anyone can throw, Pete. And we're always looking for volunteers.
I'll buy the donation.
With this group in here, I bet we can make some money off you. Sitting there.
The fishing with kids, when is that?
October the 13th, it starts from 8 to 12. Again, it's turned out to be a good deal. The first year we did it, I think we had 18 kids show up. The next year we did it, we were up to 35. So it's growing as it goes on.
And what age group are you targeting there?
I've had them up there from 1 year all the way up to 15, 16 years old. We don't really put an age group on it. If they want to come out, that's great. One of the things that we started, we get a lot of support from some of the businesses here in town. And we ask that they pre-register. The reason we ask that they pre-register is I take those registration forms with the donations that I've given, and I buy reels for the kids. So once we complete the fishing deal, I call them up by age groups and I give them a brand new fishing pole to take home. Eventually, if we get too big where we're not able to do that, we'll do something different. We'll do some type of door prize or something like that. But that's turned out to be a big hit. Parents get a little irritated because some of the little kids, when they get a spin cast ride, you know what kind of mess that makes. But the kids love it.
On National Night Out, what do you do for, how does it help for you to have businesses help you out?
Well, with National Night Out, getting the businesses up there, it draws in more people, to come up and visit, because you've got contacts just like we got contacts. And they might not come up there, they'll come up, more apt to come up and, the businesses there to socialize. And we're able to put booths together to better entertain the kids and stuff like that. I mean, just the support in general is what we're looking for. The kids, like I say, the kids have a blast up there. I mean, they'll be up there running like crazy. And it's pretty much controlled chaos with the kids up there, just to be honest. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun with interacting with the children. The fishing deal, same thing. One of the things we learned about the fishing deal, we take the hooks, we cut the barbs off. That way, when they get one in their hand, it's easier to get out. And we don't have to worry about jerking and hiding all out with it. But that turns out pretty good. Yes, sir.
We used to have treats on the square. I think the police.
Yes, sir.
And that, is that a possibility we ever get back to that?
It is, and we've been discussing that. We did treats on the square for 13 years here. And the first year we did it, we got a great turnout. And then we had a great turnout until probably the 11th and 12th year, and then people started backing off and participating in it. And what I mean by people participating, the businesses, because that's what that's all about. I mean, it's getting the kids up there, but we got to have the support to do it. I think the last time we did it, we had like 7 or 8 stands that put up, and that was it. Beforehand, when we were doing it, the whole square was full, the courthouse was full, yard was full, and all that other stuff. Now they're doing the Fall Fest, I believe, out here at the Jamboree Ground, and that'd be something I would want to speak with their organizer with, and maybe go in partnerships with them. That way, we're not cutting one program out for another. Because I think they have a good event there also.
Chief, do you see a positive impact from these things that you do from the public?
We do, mainly dealing with the kids, and some of the folks, because, officers get a bad rap. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of them probably earn the rap, but, we try to rule that in. But when they get to see and visit with the officer on a non-professional bit or aspect of it, they get to learn a little bit more about the officer. And that's what it's all about, it's trying to build trust back with officers and community.
Any other questions?
I told you it'd be short and sweet.
Well, I'm not finished with you. You brought somebody with you. Why don't you introduce him and tell us about half of what you know about him?
Okay, this is Captain Floyd Wingo. He worked for Gray County for 28 years. He retired in June of last year. I knew Floyd from back in the day when I worked down in Gladewater. We worked deep nights together. I worked for Gladewater PD, he worked for Gray County Sheriff's Department. I left Gladewater in '96 to come up here. Floyd went into the County Organized Drug Enforcement Unit, and then from there he went into the Drug Enforcement Task Force out of Tyler. So he worked with DEA for 10 years. And then when he left DEA, he went back to Gray County and was lieutenant in the jail for 3 years before he retired. And then when my captain retired, I found out he was retired. I gave him a phone call and said, come on up. And here he is. He's a good guy.
Tell us a little bit about drug activity in Upshur County. Tell us how it's going down.
Well, I will tell you this, from July to the middle of August, we made 25 cases with 26 suspects. We bought or seized over a quarter pound of methamphetamine and probably 6 to 8 ounces of marijuana in one whack. Methamphetamine, there for a while, had made a big comeback. And it's not the regular bathroom meth that we're all accustomed to. It's the ice that's coming from across the border and other places. By doing that, I think this month for our drug activity, we're actually down. I think we only made 5 or 6 cases since September until now. So that's good. That means we made it in. I know there's been some other programs taking place over in Cass County that affected our area over here, which is good. Why we're seeing such an increase in it, I don't know, other than it's cheap. Back when I was working narcotic, you could buy a quarter ounce for about $500. Now you can buy it for $150. So the price has drastically dropped on it. So that to me, you got more, the supply and demand, it's just kicked in. We work diligently on it. I think in that time frame I gave you from July to September, we ran 3 or 4 search warrants. 4 search warrants. One of them was a marijuana deal, got over 6 ounces. One of them was a deal out off Mimosa. We got around 40 grams and a stolen front steer Bobcat. We hit a house over here across from the junior high, back up in that area, and got over 3 grams of crack cocaine. He flushed, he just didn't get it all down. Where was the other one? They're running together, so, but it was methamphetamine also. But the increase in meth, it's crazy. Beforehand, you had to work at it. Now it's everywhere you turn around. The 5 cases we've made this month so far has just been off traffic stops, coming across it.
Chief, I understand that what's in Russia right now, but they have a new drug craze called crocodile. Is that, do we see any of that over the United States yet?
I hadn't heard about it being here before, have you?
I haven't seen it here yet at all.
It's a real cheap.
It's made it street work.
Sir?
It's made it street.
Has it?
We've seen
It's a cheap drug, and supposedly you take it, it basically turns your skin into like alligator skin. They use gasoline or something like that, and I've read about
Your
it.
brain,
Yeah. And then, we were running into K2, it's finally calmed down. You can still get it, it's just hard to come across. I hadn't heard much about bass salts around here in a while either. So that's good.
Did you mention ice?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
If you, the methamphetamine, when it's coming in now, your bathroom meth was made with pseudoephedrine, and it's a powder. And it can be brown, white, whatever color the cook wanted to make it. This ice looks like shards of ice. Look at rock salt, and that's basically what you're looking at. It's just a crystallization of it, and it's due with the process that it's made. It's made completely different from your bathroom meth, or bathtub meth. Yes, sir.
Didn't I read in the Gilmer Mirror here a month or 2 back, y'all busted somebody with heroin?
Yes, sir.
That just doesn't seem like a East Texas drug, to me.
You'll be surprised. Back in 2012, I worked a case with DEA task force involving strictly heroin. when we were working the case, I think we ended up with 8 suspects here in Upshur County. We ran a search warrant out off Papel Road. I got 45 grams of black tar heroin, hadn't even been cut up yet, along with 14 grams of coke. We were able to trace it back to Dallas, to the supplier out of Dallas. While we were there in Dallas watching the house, 2 people from Gilmer showed up to make a purchase. So we did our deal down here. We put our suspects in jail, and a couple months later, they got their federal indictments and put their folks in jail, which was good for us because it slowed it down quite a bit. But pretty much your heroin is coming from the Metroplex. One of the traffic stops I think they made was a girl out of Gladewater. We got word she was going to Dallas, notified DEA. They were able to get a traffic stop on the way back, and they got her with close to 5 ounces of heroin coming back into East Texas. So, yeah, heroin's here. Heroin, you don't hear about it, you don't see it. Because with heroin, you've pretty much got to have it or you get what's called sick. It's kind of like the flu symptoms that they come across when they go through detox, and it's pretty tough on them. So they kind of hold their sources near and near to keep that from happening.
How, on a regular stop, how would you find drugs in a car? Like, I know DEA contacts you or something, but
I'm
just
sorry?
on your average stop, if you pulled somebody over.
When you stop a car, you start talking with the driver. Carry normal conversation. I mean, people get nervous. I mean, we know the difference between being nervous by being pulled over and nervous because you got something you ain't supposed to have. And we start talking with them. And the more nervous, we build up what's called reasonable suspicion. Go ahead and ask you to step out of the car, we're going to talk to you a little bit more. And we're going to ask you certain questions, and we're going to watch your body language. And usually if they've got something, they're going to let you know just by watching their body. If I ask you, do you have anything illegal in your car? Do you have any marijuana, methamphetamine, heroin, pills, cocaine, guns? That's it. Because I can tell you up front. Yeah, there's nothing in it.
I'm pretty good.
But, just dealing with people through the years, you just kind of learn. But, when they have to start thinking, I don't think so. Well, I don't know, my sister drove the car last.
So you should just say no.
I mean, if you know, there's nothing.
I'm sorry.
Are you trying to get ready to say
But a lot of these guys ain't rockets. A lot of these people aren't rockets. They'll get through burning the tube, driving down the road. When you walk up to the car, they roll the window down. It's like, boom. Hey, come on back here, let's have a talk.
So do you see the legalization of marijuana coming or not?
I'm kind of old school. I believe it's a gateway drug. I honestly believe that. See, the THC level in the marijuana that you're seeing nowadays isn't the same back when we were in high school and kids. Because now they have what's called hydroponic weed. It's not growing in soil, it's pretty much growing in fertilized water. And the THC level in it is astronomical. You have the old school stuff, they call it Reggie. You have the new stuff, they call it corn. And if you look at a bud of it, it looks like your thumbnail, like a kernel of corn. And the THC level in that is just astronomical compared to what the old stuff is, the old homegrown or whatever you want to call it. It might. I just hate to see it if it does, because I don't think it's it. Everyone says it's herbs. Well, you're right. It probably is herbs, but it's the way it's made. It's the content of it. It's what's put in there that you don't know that's in there. You got stuff out here called wet. I think that's what dipped in embalming fluid. They sell them. They smoke them. I mean, just imagine what that's doing to your lungs. You have it laced with PCP. You have it laced with cocaine. You have it laced with meth. I mean, they just lace it with whatever.
Why formaldehyde? What does that do?
I ain't got a clue.
Well,
It enhances the highs, what they say.
air.
Yeah.
And preserves you at the same time.
Makes y'all's job a little bit easier, don't it, Troy? It's, I mean, the possibility, yeah, I mean, but I hope it's a long ways down the road. You know, from what I understand, Denver, they're doing good money-wise, but trying to get people to work up there is kind of tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark, with the school's requirement to teach this year's freshmen with response to being stopped, how do you think that's going to help with the police?
I'm sorry, what now?
With the schools
Senate Bill 30.
required, Senate Bill 30, required to teach interaction between students and police, how do you think that's going to help you all?
I think it'd be great. You know, we actually talked about doing I'm not gonna call it a class, but like maybe a talk. I've talked to mayor's class a couple of times up there already on dealing with law enforcement. You know, I think we gotta go back to the basics, you know, instead of being argumentative. And that's what I try to explain to mayor's class. If you get pulled over by the law, by police, that's not the place to argue. You know, I'm not saying you should, you know, if you're right, you're right. But there's policies put in place where if you have a problem with any one of my officers, you need to come see me, because I promise you, I deal with those problems very quickly. That's what I like about the body cameras now. Because a lot of people that call in and want to file a complaint on the officer, and basically what it boils down to is they're mad they got a ticket. Well, as soon as I say I'm going to pull the body camera and look at it, they say, he had a body camera on? Yes, sir. And they drop the complaint right there. Because a lot of it's just fabricated. But going back to what you're saying, you know, wanting an argument alongside the highway, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. Here's your court date. If you got a problem with it, you show it to court. There's no argument there. And, you know, if you feel like you've been dealt wrong with, mistreated, I expect you to come see me. I mean, I really do. And if you don't want to come up, call me and let me know, you know, because that's something I need to look into, most definitely. We take it very seriously.
Well, that's a new requirement. Certainly, we have to have, in every freshman to be taught interaction. They don't have a curriculum for it yet, but.
It just came out.
Yeah.
That's all it.
Just got it.
Yes, sir.
Are your officers carrying Narcan or just paramedics?
No, sir. I actually went and purchased Narcan for the officer. Yes, sir. We have, I think, 2 sets that we keep, one in the supervisor's car.
What is that?
Narcan. They came out with a, what's that stuff called? It's a drug. If you touch it, it automatically, I mean, you get fentanyl, that's it. EOD on it. And it don't have to be a big contact or anything like that. But we keep Narcan in the car. That way if an officer does come in and start showing symptoms of it, we just put it up their nose and be done with it until we get the medical help that he needs. They've had a couple cases in Dallas, I think, and a couple other cases. Yes, sir? Oh.
I've just had a hard time hearing you.
Oh, is that better? Pete told me.
I'm falling off back here.
But yeah, we do keep a couple kids on hand for that purpose.
Anybody else?
Said one question, please, about these vape shops and stuff. Now, is that what's the deal? Is that getting kind of borderline?
It depends what they're selling in there. You know, you go into, I've been into a couple of vape shops and I see all the pretty pipes and all this other stuff. What the law says, it's not paraphernalia until you use it as paraphernalia. So, you know, they can sell it all day long, but once you utilize it, then it becomes paraphernalia. I don't agree with them, and it is what it is. You know, that'd be like me selling you a switchblade knife. You know, they're illegal, but you can collect them. Why sell them, I mean?
Thank you, Mark.
Hey.